Welcome to Leo's guide to applying Waterslide decals featuring just about everything that can go wrong. In this video, I will show you how to apply a Waterslide decal featuring the most unorthodox, unprofessional advice that somehow managed to secure the future of the forsaken decal you are about to bear witness to. I filmed over an hour of me applying decals and still managed to mess up so badly, but fortunately for you, you get to learn from my mistakes. Disclaimer, this is my process that I developed with my experiences. I have not had any bad results from using this process. Again, this is not professional advice. I'm just sharing what worked for me.
Hey, Darkwing! Don't. My finger can transform. Guess which one?
Mistake number 1. In my last video, I showed you the abbreviated process for how to apply a decal. I do not like shorts, so this was a very abbreviated video not filled with sufficient information in my opinion. But shorts are a good way to attract an audience. Don't hate the player, hate the game. In any case, I didn't show you how the other half of the decal turned out, so here is what it looked like. And I said this. It's not perfect. What this means is I immediately proceeded to take off this half of the decal and attempt to put another one on. However, I neglected to properly cut the decal and was left with a less than satisfactory appearance. Despite applying this new decal and letting it sit on my shelf for several days, I was still unhappy with it. So I decided to film a new video with new angles to better show off my application process. Beginning the second video, determined to make a more concise guide, I began by trying to show off how the microsole is supposed to be used to remove decals. I was wrong. It is the microset that is intended to be used to remove decals. Mistake number 2. The microset says to use a bunch and wait to remove the decal. However, despite my patience, I am impatient. Therefore, I attempted to remove the decal in a civil manner. However, as soon as the decal decided to start coming apart, I chose to make like 10 CFR 3592 Alpha 2 and obliterate all Decepticon labels. Mistake number 3. Finally, once I had a clean slate, I could commence with the video. So, start by cutting out the decal in the size you would like to apply. Make sure to leave an adequate amount of room around the edges to ensure you have something to hold when handling the decal. Grab a pair of inverse tweezers. These will allow you to handle the decal without having to constantly squeeze them. Dip the decal in water. The water should probably be warm, but I use whatever temperature water my spigot feels like giving to me. Since my water is perhaps closer to room temperature, I hold the decal in for about 30 seconds. Remove the decal from the water. The paper backing will retain some of the water due to the surface tension. Contact the backing paper to the paper towel and allow the extra water to be absorbed. Take the end of a cotton swab, or we can just call it a Q-tip, and dip it in the water. Lightly move the wetted end against the surface of the decal and try to move the decal. If it does not move, the decal is thirsty and needs more water. If it's moving, then it's time to apply. Open the lid of the microset and use a thin-tipped brush to take up some of the solution. Plastic and die-cast, in my experience, tends to be hydrophobic, and the solution will ball up rather than smear across the surface. So, place a few dots of solution on your application area. Press the tip of your brush onto the paper towel until it is relatively dry, then dip the tip into the water and repeat the previous step to clean your brush. Grab your decal and press the backing paper onto the application surface near the application area. Use the wetted end of the Q-tip to slide the decal slightly off of the paper. Once you have an idea of where the edge of the decal is, position it over the area you want to apply it to and press down on it with the Q-tip. Be gentle. You don't want it to move from this position, so don't let it. Slide the backing paper out from under the decal. Now, I can't emphasize enough how important this initial positioning is. If you don't have enough liquid under the decal when you apply it, it will stick and stay and refuse to move. This is exactly what happened to me. I did not focus on the exact positioning for this decal, and it stuck as soon as I removed it from the backing paper. I was unhappy with the position of the decal, so I tried to move it, and, of course, nothing happened. So, I was forced to completely remove the decal. Mistake number 4. This is where the standardized advice ends and the officially unprofessional advice begins. For some decals, you can add some water around the edge of the decal and it will be absorbed under the decal, allowing you to maneuver it as you need. This was not the case for this one, so I tried to peel up the edge of the decal. The trade-off for trying to peel up the edge to get water under the decal is that you can introduce creases to the decal. I tried that and it didn't work. So my next option was to remove the decal. I want to make it clear that I don't like using the inverse tweezers on the decal because the metal on the paper could easily rip it up. But something a little unpredictable happened. The decal was fine. So, backing up and taking my own advice, I repositioned the decal more carefully and removed the tweezers. Once the decal is in the place you'd like to set it, gently press the Q-tip onto the application surface and roll it over the decal. The goal is to squeeze the water out from underneath the decal without moving the decal. Be careful when rolling the Q-tip over the decal because pressing too hard while rolling can cause the decal to slide. We're almost done. All that's left is to wet the brush and dry it on the paper towel, open the microsole, and dip the brush in the solution. Apply a coat of microsole over the decal, allow the solution to dry, and your decal has officially been applied. Do not mess with the decal for 2 to 3 days. I have used this method to apply probably dozens of decals at this point, and they all look good enough. I like to say I'm a perfectionist, but admittedly, if I spent forever trying to get these decals into place, I think I would go crazy. So be reasonable with your positioning, and of course, it's your figure, probably, and you're going to be the one who has to live with the positioning of the decal. So this is why I like to take so much care in this process. I hope you've enjoyed this guide on how to apply a decal featuring just about everything that can go wrong. If this is your first video, welcome. I have 2 other guides on my channel related to how to light up an IKEA Billy bookshelf using all IKEA hardware. Feel free to check that video out. If you'd like to see reviews of the figures that you've seen in this video, feel free to check out more of the videos on my channel. I've got a playlist filled with brief looks at all kinds of transforming action figures. If there are any other figures you'd like me to take a look at next, leave a comment down below. And as always, I'm Leo, reminding you that plastic toys don't belong in plastic prisons. See you next time.